A trillion-dollar company, bigger than Facebook and Samsung, once quietly decided how 1.4 billion people talk, pay, and live, locking them inside a single app for 4 hours a day. You have used its products, perhaps without even knowing the name Tencent. Behind its rise lurks government access to every message and every bank record. How did the world's most powerful tech empire stay invisible? Could your life already depend on it? In early 2021, Tencent's market value soared to nearly $950 billion, placing it among the 5 most valuable public companies on Earth. At its peak, Tencent outstripped Facebook, MasterCard, and Samsung, names that dominate headlines in the West. For a brief period, only Apple, Microsoft, Saudi Aramco, and Alphabet were worth more. Tencent's quarterly revenue topped $27 billion in late 2025, with profits that dwarfed many of its global rivals. Its gaming division alone brought in over $8 billion in a single quarter, while its mobile apps generated nearly $8 billion in annual revenue. Tencent's stake in the digital economy is not just about size, it is about reach. The company owns all of Riot Games, the studio behind League of Legends, and 40% of Epic Games, the force behind Fortnite and the Unreal Engine. It holds significant shares in Reddit, Tesla, Spotify, and Snap, with a portfolio that stretches across more than 1,000 companies. Tencent's investments have quietly shaped the digital habits of billions, even in markets where its name rarely appears in the news. In China, its core app, WeChat, became the digital backbone for over 1 billion people. But Tencent's power is not measured only by user numbers or financial statements. At its height, it became the invisible engine running the world's largest internet market, handling more daily payments than Visa or MasterCard, and steering the flow of information, entertainment, and money for an entire society. The company's scale is almost impossible to grasp from the outside. Yet for years, Tencent managed to stay hidden in plain sight, its influence woven through the fabric of daily life, its true heft measured in trillions of transactions and connections that most users never see. Every morning, in cities and villages across China, more than 1 billion people wake up and reach for the same app. WeChat is the first screen they see and the last one before bed. It is not just for chatting with friends or posting photos. It is how people pay their rent, order breakfast, schedule appointments with doctors, hail a taxi, and even check in at the airport. For many, a day without WeChat is unthinkable. Time use surveys show users spend nearly 4 hours a day inside the app. That is more than the combined daily average Americans spend on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and Snapchat. The numbers are staggering. 1.4 billion monthly active users. On any given day, WeChat processes more than 1 billion payments, more than Visa or MasterCard. It hosts hundreds of millions of group chats, business meetings, and family calls. School announcements, traffic fines, and government notices all flow through the same digital channel. For urban professionals, students, retirees, and rural shopkeepers, WeChat is the operating system of daily life. Tencent's reach goes far beyond the phone screen. Through WeChat mini programs, users can shop, invest, play games, book hotels, and even access public services, all without ever leaving the app. It is as if Facebook, PayPal, WhatsApp, Uber, Amazon, and Netflix were fused into a single platform, run by one company, with every action tracked and logged. This digital octopus wraps its tentacles around every aspect of modern life in China. Its influence is so complete that for many, the idea of switching to another app is almost unthinkable. The scale is invisible from the outside, but inside China, Tencent is not just a tech company, it is the backbone of society's daily rhythms. Behind this seamless experience stands a founder whose story begins far from the glare of the global stage. Ma Huateng, known to the world as Pony Ma, grew up in Guangdong province during a time when China's southern coast was opening to the world. His father worked in the port city of Shenzhen, a place transformed almost overnight from a fishing village to a tech frontier. Pony, quiet and analytical, spent his days tinkering with electronics and writing code. By the time he graduated from Shenzhen University in 1993 with a degree in computer science, he had already developed stock quotation software for a local firm, a project that earned him his first real money and a glimpse of what software could do at scale. In 1998, at just 27, Pony Ma and a handful of friends rented a cramped office in Shenzhen. The rent was cheap, the furniture was basic, and a disco ball hung from the ceiling, a leftover from the previous tenant that became an inside joke about their ambitions. The team worked long nights, fueled by instant noodles and the hope that their idea might catch on. Their first product was called OICQ, a near clone of the popular Israeli chat app ICQ, but with tweaks for Chinese language and tastes. To keep chat rooms lively in those early days, staff sometimes pretended to be female users. Pony would later recount that with a hint of embarrassment. Ma was no showman. He rarely spoke to the press, preferred spreadsheets to spotlights, and obsessed over product details. But he understood something essential. Connection mattered. In a country leaping into the digital age, OICQ offered millions their first taste of instant, real-time conversation. As user numbers soared, so did the pressure. Server bills piled up. Revenue was non-existent. The tiny team faced a simple truth. Without funding, their experiment would collapse. Pony Ma was about to make a desperate plea that would decide Tencent's fate. Pony Ma walked into the meeting with IDG Capital, carrying nothing but a stack of user numbers and a blunt confession. Tencent had millions of users, but no idea how to turn them into revenue. Server bills were swallowing the company whole. If no one stepped in, Tencent would be gone in months. Ma's honesty was rare in a room full of venture capitalists. He told them, "If you don't fund us now, we'll die." There was no pitch deck, no grand vision, just raw numbers and a plea for survival. IDG Capital and PCCW looked past the lack of a business plan and saw something else: relentless user growth, a team that shipped fast, and a founder willing to admit what he didn't know. They wired $2.2 million for a 40% stake, buying Tencent time when almost no one else would take the risk. Relief was short-lived. AOL, owner of ICQ, filed a trademark suit. The Chinese courts sided with AOL. Overnight, OICQ had to be erased. The team scrambled to rebrand, settling on QQ, an odd chirpy name that would soon become iconic. The penguin mascot replaced the old logo, and users barely blinked. Tencent had its lifeline, but it had also lost its identity. The company was alive, but only just. Now, with new money in the bank and a fresh name, the question was not survival. It was whether Tencent could finally figure out how to make money. Profit finally arrived, disguised as pixels and penguins. In 2002, Tencent launched QQ Show, a feature that let users dress up their penguin avatars with digital clothing and accessories. The idea was not born in Shenzhen. It was lifted straight from Korea's Say Club, which had already proven that status symbols could exist in code. Tencent's engineers studied the model, tweaked it for local tastes, and unleashed it on a user base hungry for self-expression. Suddenly, teenagers were spending real money on virtual sneakers, hats, and wings. Some blew their entire monthly allowance on rare outfits just to stand out in crowded chat rooms. The margins were staggering. Digital jackets cost nothing to produce, but sold for as much as a lunch. By the end of the year, microtransactions from QQ Show and other value-added services turned Tencent profitable for the first time. This was more than a revenue stream. It was a revolution. The company realized that copying the best ideas and improving them was not just a shortcut, it was a strategy. Pony Ma put it plainly: learn from the best examples and surpass them. Inside Tencent, teams began watching competitors obsessively, ready to adapt anything that worked. The copy and improve culture became a core operating system, fueling a relentless drive to find the next hit and funnel millions of users toward it. The era of survival was over. Tencent was ready to take on anyone. Microsoft arrived in China in 2004 with MSN Messenger, determined to dethrone QQ. Backed by millions in marketing and the weight of a global brand, MSN partnered with local telecoms and bundled its software with broadband subscriptions. Tencent, still run like a startup, answered with speed. While MSN teams waited for approvals from Redmond, QQ developers in Shenzhen shipped new features in weeks. Offline messaging, letting users send chats even when friends were disconnected, became a QQ staple long before MSN could match it. Group video chat, avatar customization, and integrated antivirus tools kept users hooked. By the end of 2005, QQ had 500 million registered accounts and more than 90% of China's instant messaging market. MSN growth stalled, fading into a niche for office workers. Microsoft quietly exited the field. Aggression was not limited to foreign rivals. In 2010, the 3Q war erupted with Qihoo 360, China's leading antivirus provider. Qihoo accused QQ of spying on users, and Tencent countered it that Qihoo software was invasive and unsafe. The battle escalated into software sabotage. QQ detected 360 and refused to run unless users uninstalled it. Millions faced a stark choice: give up QQ or ditch Qihoo protection. Public outrage exploded. Headlines declared Tencent out of control. The government finally stepped in and ordered both companies to restore compatibility, but it imposed no penalties. Tencent dominance remained unbroken, its playbook clear: move fast, retaliate harder, and leverage its user base as a weapon. Rivals learned that in China's digital world, crossing Tencent meant war, and Tencent rarely lost. In 2010, Tencent faced a challenge that threatened to make everything they had built obsolete. Mobile phones were taking over, and new messaging apps like WhatsApp and KakaoTalk were sweeping users across Asia. Inside Tencent, the fear was real. If they did not move fast, QQ could be left behind. So Pony Ma ordered a contest, 3 teams racing to invent the company's future. The winner would decide Tencent's fate. The Guangzhou team, led by Alan Zhang, worked out of a small office far from Shenzhen headquarters. Zhang had already made a name for himself as the creator of Foxmail, one of China's most popular email clients. He was known for his obsession with simplicity and his refusal to compromise on user experience. While other teams built bloated prototypes, Zhang's group focused on speed, voice, and frictionless onboarding. Their breakthrough came with push-to-talk voice messaging. For users tired of typing on tiny phone keyboards, it was a revelation. Hold a button, speak, and your friend hears you instantly. The idea was not original. Hong Kong's TalkBox had launched a similar feature months earlier, but Tencent's scale gave them the edge. Within weeks, WeChat shipped push to talk to millions, leapfrogging rivals who could not match Tencent's engineering muscle or user funnel. In January 2011, WeChat launched quietly on Android and iOS. The app spread with viral speed, boosted by Tencent's ability to seed it through QQ's massive user base. In just 433 days, WeChat hit 100 million registered users, a milestone that took Facebook years to match. Zhang's insistence on clean design and instant voice made WeChat feel native to mobile in a way QQ never could. By 2012, WeChat was not just another messenger, it was the fastest growing social app in the world. The company had found its second act, and for Alan Zhang, the quiet engineer, it was proof that in the right hands a small team could change the habits of 1 billion people. The Lunar New Year arrives, and with it a centuries-old tradition. Red envelopes filled with cash handed from elders to children, friends to friends. In 2014, WeChat digitized this ritual. Instead of crisp bills, users sent virtual red packets, a few yuan, a message, a tap. Within hours, millions joined in. By the end of the holiday, 75 million digital red packets had changed hands. The feature was more than festive, it was a Trojan horse for payments. To send or receive a red packet, users had to link their bank cards to WeChat. Suddenly, Millions who had never used mobile payments were on board. The process was seamless, almost invisible. Scan a code, enter a number, done. Cash vanished from daily life, replaced by QR codes and a new kind of wallet. WeChat Pay became the default for everything, splitting the bill at dinner, buying street food, paying rent, even donating to charity. By 2016, WeChat Pay was handling over 1 billion transactions every single day, outpacing Visa and MasterCard in China. The app's grip tightened as users realized they could leave their physical wallets at home. Every merchant, from luxury malls to corner noodle shops, now accepted WeChat Pay. For Tencent, this was a goldmine. Every payment, no matter how small, sent a fraction of a cent back to the company. The data was even more valuable. With every scan, Tencent mapped spending habits, social networks, and movement across the country. Red packets had started as a playful feature, but they rewired the economy. Tencent did not just win the payments war, it became the gatekeeper for money itself. And as users grew comfortable with mobile payments, Tencent prepared its next move, transforming WeChat into a platform where thousands of mini-apps would run inside the super app, making the phone itself feel almost secondary. In January 2017, WeChat introduced mini programs, tiny apps that run entirely inside the main app without any download or installation. Overnight, the phone's home screen became almost irrelevant. Users could scan a QR code at a restaurant, open the menu, order food, and pay, all within WeChat. Booking a hotel room, hailing a Didi ride, checking train schedules, or even applying for a business license no longer required separate apps. Everything happened inside one ecosystem, with every tap and transaction quietly recorded. For the first time, an app had become its own operating system. Mini programs allowed third-party companies, startups, and giants alike to reach WeChat's billion-plus users without ever touching Apple's App Store or Google Play. Tencent, not Apple or Google, decided who got featured, who could advertise, and who could access the most valuable data. In a single year, over 580,000 mini programs launched, from banking to grocery delivery to public utilities. By 2021, more than 1 million were live, with daily active users in the hundreds of millions. This new architecture created a form of digital lock in that was almost absolute. A typical day might mean calling a friend, splitting a bill, shopping for groceries, playing a game, and paying rent, never once leaving WeChat. Tencent took a small cut of every transaction, but the real prize was the data. Spending habits, social networks, location, and even health records, all flowing through one funnel. For businesses, success often meant getting picked by Tencent to be featured or promoted, turning the company into a kingmaker. For users, the boundaries between work, life, and commerce blurred until WeChat became the invisible infrastructure of modern China. The App Store era was over. Tencent now owned the rails, the stations, and the trains. Tencent's grip on the world's digital playground runs deeper than most gamers ever realize. In 2015, the company bought all of Riot Games, the studio behind League of Legends, a title that draws more than 100 million players a month and anchors the global esports scene. 3 years earlier, Tencent had secured a 40% stake in Epic Games, creator of Fortnite, and the Unreal Engine, the software backbone for hundreds of top-tier games. This was not just about collecting trophies. Tencent reshaped the business of gaming itself, exporting the free-to-play model and microtransactions that first took off in China. Instead of charging up front, games became free to download, but filled with cosmetic skins, emotes, and power-ups that could be bought in tiny increments, sometimes just $1 at a time. The result was a gold rush. League of Legends and Fortnite turned in-game purchases into billion-dollar revenue streams, setting new standards for the industry. In China, Tencent's own Honor of Kings became a cultural phenomenon. Released in 2015, it drew inspiration from League of Legends, but was rebuilt for mobile, with matches designed for quick play on the go. By 2017, Honor of Kings was the most popular mobile game in China, pulling in tens of millions of daily users and topping global charts for in-app spending. The game's success rippled outward. Tencent studios and partners refined the art of digital economies, blending social features, celebrity tie-ins, and seasonal events to keep players spending. Owning and investing in these studios gave Tencent control over not just the games themselves, but the rules of engagement for millions of players worldwide. Its influence stretches from Shanghai to Los Angeles, from Seoul to San Francisco, shaping what people play, how they pay, and even how they connect with friends online. In the background, Tencent's gaming empire became a testing ground for business models that would later filter into every corner of the digital economy. Inside Tencent's headquarters, investment decisions run on data, not gut instinct. Every day, millions of users generate a stream of analytics as they tap through WeChat's mini programs, ordering food, hailing rides, booking hotels. Tencent's teams track every click, payment, and session length, building a living map of China's digital economy. This data is not just for product tweaks, it is the engine behind Tencent's investment playbook. A strategy industry insiders have called the company's private pantheon, a place where executives sift through usage statistics to decide which startups get a lifeline and which are left behind. Take Didi Chuxing, China's top ride-hailing platform. Early on, Didi's mini program gained traction inside WeChat, with millions booking rides and paying through WeChat Pay. Tencent's analytics flagged Didi as a breakout. Soon after, Tencent invested heavily, then gave Didi privileged placement, prime slots in WeChat's interface, and seamless payment integration. With the power of WeChat's traffic behind it, Didi outpaced rivals, while Tencent collected both investment returns and a cut of every fare processed through its payment rails. This funnel repeats across the portfolio. JD.com, one of China's largest e-commerce players, owes much of its explosive growth to Tencent's stake and the deep integration of JD's mini program into WeChat. The result is a direct pipeline from social chat to checkout, with Tencent earning fees at every step. Spotify, Tesla, Reddit, and Snap appear on Tencent's global map as minority stakes, each chosen for their ability to generate data, strategic partnerships, or access to new markets rather than direct control. Every investment is a two-way street. Tencent supplies capital and, more importantly, access to its ecosystem. In return, it gains real-time insight into which services are winning user attention. The company's power lies not in boardroom votes, but in its ability to funnel hundreds of millions of users toward chosen partners, turning data into dominance. Tencent's power inside China was absolute, but its global ambitions kept running into walls. For years, Pony Ma dreamed of building a super app for the world, one that could match WeChat's grip on daily life. But outside China, the story played out differently. WeChat's international user base stalled at around 100 million to 200 million users, mostly Chinese speakers living abroad. In India, Southeast Asia, and even the United States, most people stuck with WhatsApp, Facebook, or local apps. Attempts to break through, like the 2013 effort to buy WhatsApp, ended in disappointment. Rumors swirled that Tencent offered $10 billion, but Mark Zuckerberg closed the deal at $19 billion, leaving Pony watching from the sidelines. When TikTok exploded worldwide, Tencent tried to fight back. Its own short video app, Weishi, was launched and promoted hard inside China, but failed to gain traction abroad. Tencent blocked TikTok ads and links inside WeChat, hoping to slow ByteDance's momentum. It did not work. TikTok's algorithm was too good, its growth too fast. Overseas, users barely noticed Tencent's alternatives. Tensions between Pony Ma and ByteDance founder Zhang Yiming spilled into the open. Zhang accused Tencent of bullying tactics and blocking competition. Pony, usually reserved, fired back in rare public memos. But for all the noise, the numbers told the story. TikTok reached 1 billion global users, while WeChat never cracked the code outside China. the limits were clear. Surveillance concerns kept Western users away. Citizen Lab research showed that even WeChat accounts outside China were scanned, their messages used to train censorship systems inside China. For all its reach at home, Tencent's digital empire hit a ceiling abroad, blocked by trust, regulation, and rivals who were not about to let a Chinese super app take over their turf. 2016, Amnesty International rated Tencent dead last in its global privacy audit, giving WeChat a score of 0 out of 100. The reason was simple: no end-to-end encryption, no transparency about government requests, and no meaningful user controls. Forensic researchers at Citizen Lab confirmed that every message, image, and file sent through WeChat is scanned on Tencent servers, not just inside China, but worldwide. In 2020, Citizen Lab's technical audit showed that even accounts registered outside China are quietly monitored. Images and keywords flagged as politically sensitive, such as Tiananmen, Hong Kong protests, or names of officials, are hashed and stored. These digital fingerprints are then used to censor and block content for users inside China, while the original sender receives no warning. The surveillance is silent and invisible. WeChat's architecture makes this possible. Messages are stored server-side, not on users' devices. When a message is sent, it passes through Tencent's logic and storage layers, where automated systems and thousands of human moderators review flagged content. There is no technical barrier between chat logs and law enforcement. Under Chinese law, Tencent must assist police investigations, and by 2021, the government required facial recognition for gaming and payment features, linking WeChat accounts directly to police databases. Inside Tencent, a Communist Party committee operates alongside management, and thousands of party members hold positions across the company, including in content security teams. Amnesty's 0 rating, Citizen Lab's audits, and the integration of police facial recognition all point to a system built for total visibility, not privacy. For users, every message can become evidence. For authorities, WeChat is not just an app, it is a surveillance tool embedded in daily life. In March 2018, China's regulators brought the country's booming gaming industry to a sudden halt. No new games received approval for months. Tencent, the world's largest gaming company, saw its future thrown into question overnight. State media labeled online games spiritual opium, blaming them for addiction and social decay. Investors panicked. Tencent's share price tumbled, erasing more than $200 billion in value that year alone. The freeze continued, and the shockwaves spread. By 2022, Tencent's total market capitalization loss surpassed $500 billion, wiping out years of growth in a matter of months. The crackdown did not stop at games. Antitrust authorities forced Tencent to abandon exclusive music rights and to submit new investment deals for government approval. The company was ordered to limit minors to just 3 hours of gaming per week, enforced by real name registration and facial recognition tied directly to police databases. Popular titles were rebranded and sanitized. PUBG became Game for Peace, stripping out violence and adding patriotic overtones. For the first time in a decade, Tencent reported a drop in profits. Hundreds of employees lost their jobs. New game approvals dried up. Between mid-2021 and late 2022, not a single Tencent title made it through. When the freeze finally lifted, the only game approved was Health Defense, a public health-themed title designed to align with government messaging. Tencent's empire, once untouchable, now moved at the mercy of regulators. Every decision had to fit a new political reality, one where the company's survival depended on loyalty and compliance. 3 distinct futures now compete to define Tencent's path, and by extension the digital lives of billions. In the first scenario, Tencent deepens its alignment with the Chinese state, doubling down on compliance and patriotic content. The company maintains a near monopoly at home, while global ambitions fade. Daily life in China becomes even more inseparable from WeChat, and for gamers, content shifts to reflect government priorities. Privacy advocates see little hope for reform as data remains tightly linked to state systems. Regulatory pressure drives the second scenario. Antitrust rules, youth gaming limits, and data security laws tighten, eroding Tencent's dominance. The company stays a giant, but growth slows and its global standing slips. For users, this means fewer new features and more restrictions. Regulators gain leverage, but the risks of overconcentration and state surveillance persist. In a third scenario, Tencent pivots outward, shifting resources from domestic platforms to global investments. Stakes in gaming, social media, and fintech turn Tencent into a silent partner in Western internet culture. The company's global influence becomes harder to trace, yet it still shapes how people play, share, and pay. Regulators and privacy advocates face new challenges as Tencent's reach becomes more diffuse, but no less significant. Each path carries trade-offs for gamers, policymakers, and anyone who depends on the invisible infrastructure Tencent has built. Tencent's code shapes what more than 1 billion people see, say, and buy, and its reach quietly extends into the daily lives of millions around the world. As governments debate technology sovereignty and data security, the reality is this: the true power is not just in the algorithm, but in who controls the network itself. In a world built on invisible infrastructure, ownership is not just a business strategy, it is a question of freedom. Share your thoughts below.